Good morning. How we doing? How we doing?
Doing good.
Fantastic football
Doing good,
Saturday.
sir.
Well,
hmm
this is your sports ball talk, and these are your dude bros. We got Rista down here with me, GB, and as always, the dude. We like to do your little pregame show here at the 7:20 hour just to get in before everybody else. We got what five games, 6 games, big games to talk about today. What do you think, GB? Why don't you start us out?
Well, do we want to roll right into the Hoosiers versus the Nittany Lions?
Yeah.
This is one that I've been kind of back and forth this week. In the live show I called, I didn't see the Hoosiers going to be able to cover the 14 and a half points. Most people might say that's wild considering how dynamic the Hoosiers have been on offense, especially with Mendoza.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still kind of leaning towards, with it being at Penn State and Penn State a team that has absolutely nothing to lose, there is a good shot that their best bet wouldn't be to win. They're not going to win, but to keep them from covering the 14 and a half points. Where do you weigh in on that, Brian?
Oh man, like I said in our live show, I fully expect these Hoosiers to do what the Hoosiers have done all year. There's only been a couple games where it was like, but all the rest of them, they have absolutely dominated. They've gone everywhere. They've played the same way. They've showed a couple chinks here and there, but they've also showed that they can pick stuff up after they made those mistakes and keep on rolling. So I really like Mendoza. That guy is, there's a reason he's one of the guys that they're talking about in the Heisman right now. He has played lights out all year. I really like Indiana. I'm taking them to cover. I'm taking this game as an over. I think this is going to be one of those beatings for Penn State that they've been getting all year. I mean, they've just it's been a dumpster fire up in Pennsylvania, and from where they started this year talking about Penn State to where Penn State is right this minute, it is just I don't think a lot of people would have thought it would have gotten this bad for them, but it has, and I don't think it's going to get any better today. So I'm absolutely taking the cover. Over on that 49 and a half points, and yeah, this is going to be a beatdown. This is one of my bet games. So what are you thinking, Rista?
Hey, unplug your mic and plug it back in real quick.
Anyway, about this game, I don't like Indiana to cover this either. Not to say that Penn State's defense is still good, so that's what I'm getting at with that. I would call an upset here if Drew Aller was still playing, but with him not being there, and of course, James Franklin not being there, I just don't think Penn State's winning this game. But I could see them, holding Indiana to under the cover there. So that's what I'll go with on this.
Why don't you round it out, dude?
Solid. The more I've been thinking about this one, and I actually was thinking about this one about 3 hours ago. This was a game that popped in, and I was like, I've got some time to kick it around. I think Indiana is going to cover.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game was also going to be over. The more and more I'm looking at it, which means, of course, Penn State is about to come out and trounce Indiana by 2 or 3 touchdowns and make me look like a fool. But in all seriousness, I think that squad is building. I mean, they're an undefeated team. They're at the top of the Big Ten right now, and they've got to stay there. They've got to keep making these statements. And I think roll through Penn State. You got Wisconsin coming up after this will be your next big test. Maybe Purdue puts up a little bit of struggle, but I mean, this is it. As long as they are still focused on the game at hand, they're going to be solid. The only doubt I have that they might not cover and come out there and everything go swimmingly is that they might be already looking kind of in that playoff mindset and thinking too far in the future. Maybe we can serve this player a little bit more here. We don't want to stack up points because we're trying to keep him from getting injured, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I do not see Penn State winning no matter what.
No, not at all. And I don't think Cignetti's going to let them look past Penn State. I think he does a good job of keeping these guys focused no matter where they are, whether it's at Oregon or in Penn State.
He's solid.
He's a very good coach, and he's off that Saban tree. They seem to be pretty successful right now, all those ADs and OCs, and, not to toot his own horn, but, look at the coaches that coached under Saban that are doing absolutely phenomenal in the league right now, whether it's in the NFL or the college level. These guys, they had a good teacher and they picked up the right things, at least the ones that listened did. So I'm 100% Cignetti camp. I think they're just they're too good to lose to Penn State. I don't see any upset here, and I feel like this is going to be a warm up game for them for what's left coming in the playoffs. They're just going to keep it crisp. That's why I'm high on the cover and the over. So
we
I
need to
don't.
chill, Brian. We need to knock on wood. We just need to shut up right now because we're about to ruin this for them.
Well, I'm going to be watching. I hope it's not the thing, but I just there's too much turmoil in Penn State right now. I don't see it. So. Well, if none of y'all have anything to add to this whooping here, I was gonna skip over this game, but I think we should talk about it at least a little bit. The Bulldog showdown. Um, I think there's a chance that there is a trap game here. Like I said in the live show, I just feel like there is an opportunity here for Mississippi State to hurt some feelings. And I know, GB, I hate to start with you twice, but I know you got some skin in this game. So bring it on. Let's hear what you got to say.
I like Mississippi State's coach Levy. I really do. And I think that he's taken the program in a direction where they have been in the fight to win several games this season that just didn't fall their way. And he's trying to hype up the student section, hype up his fans this week, and he's calling for 60,000 cowbells as they host the Georgia Bulldogs 11 a.m. this morning. And as a Christopher Walken fan, got to have more cowbell. Mississippi State got their first conference win against Arkansas, so I feel like that is something that is going to start putting them in the right direction even more so because now they have the confidence to know that they can do it. On the flip side of that, Georgia has shown they've got some chinks in the armor, and they had a really narrow escape against Florida. And going back and watching that game, they're a beatable team. They are not the Georgia that we've come to know that is always going to be a national champion. They have absolute flaws, but it really is going to boil down to in the trenches which Bulldog has the better bite this weekend. On the live show, I called to stay away from betting on this just because I really can't call it one way or the other. There's a scenario where Mississippi State maybe pulls up the upset, like you said, for the trap game. There's a scenario where finally we get to see all the pieces fall into place for Georgia, and they say, hey, we're fine for a reason. So I'm staying away from the 7.5 points, the over-under 57.5. It could be a low-scoring game battle in the trenches. It could be an absolute blow-off. Offenses are going off. But I would love to hear, especially y'all's take on this, or where you think which Bulldog is going to come out ahead.
What do you think, Risa?
I like Georgia to cover in this, I think. I get everything that you're saying. I can see this going kind of either way. I don't ever know what I'm going to get with Georgia this year. I don't know if I'm going to get I just don't know if I'm going to get like their best game where they blow out these teams that they should, or at least cover the line where they should, or they get games where they just seem to struggle for a long time and then they kind of pull away. So I still like them to cover here. I don't like that it's at Mississippi State because I know that's not the biggest stadium, but those cowbells are they make a difference. So, but I do like Georgia to cover.
I'm just looking at the history for this particular year, and I pretty much line right up there with you, GB. This could easily go either way. I mean, we've seen the victories that a certain team has made that when you really look at the brass tacks and look at the numbers, they are not impressive victories by any means. And then you look at the losses from a certain other Bulldog team, and you know what? Those were some good losses. And I know that's kind of an oxymoron to say, but there was no game where Mississippi State is out there and you are just seeing them get defeated. You are seeing a team put up a good football fight and the other team win. So I think no matter what, I do not think Mississippi State gets defeated today. I think that Georgia could very well win, but I think it is going to be a great game regardless. And I think this is your lunch game for sure. This is absolutely what you are at fault if you do not have this on the TV for at least a little bit of your time.
Yeah, I can agree with all that. Just to y'all's points, this was my not bet game too. I wasn't fooling with any of that just because of the potential of the trap game. I mean, trap game is written all over this, and for that reason, I did not take Georgia to cover, and I took this as an under game. Just on my notes here, I think this is going to be a defensive game. Obviously, Georgia top tier defense just with the coaching behind it anyway and the personnel they got on the field. They're very good defense and they show up when they need to. That's why they've won these close games. They've gotten the stop, they've gotten the takeaway late. It's but to not to just beat a horse to death. I've said it in a couple games with Georgia. I think this is going to come down to how Gunnar Stockton plays. How is he going to react to this Mississippi State defense with all those cowbells going, the entire stadium behind, not him? I don't know how he's going to react. He's like, it's just, I say the same thing every week. It's like he shows these big spots where he's just awesome, and then he misses a dead open touchdown. It's just, I don't know. And for that reason, I'm not touching any of the betting stuff. And I just think this is going to be a weird one. I do think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to find a way to win. And to Dude's point, it's going to be one of those really good games where Mississippi State really could have won the game. And I don't think we've seen that a lot against Georgia. We've seen it a couple times, but that second half defense adjustment, they have shut out teams in the second half several times this year. So we'll see how that plays out. I'll take Georgia to win, but I'm not touching anything else. But hey, either way, a Bulldog is going to win the game, right?
You're stole smart that one from me.
Hey, yeah, glad you caught that. Now, the next game we're rolling into is the one I'm very excited about. I think this is very much going to be one of your best games of the day, and I think this one's going to have more implications for the playoff than any other game today. BYU Cougars are going into the Texas Tech Raiders. Boy, I think these are two powerhouses for two different kinds of reasons. I've watched BYU's offense this year, and it has just been off the charts when it needed to be. They are very good at scoring points. They're fast, but Texas Tech's defense is just stout. They're one of those top defenses in the league also, and I think this is going to be one of those big clashers, and I think somebody knows something that I don't, because these tickets, when I looked at this stuff, were $409 a piece at the lowest. So obviously they think that this is going to be a good game. Rista, why don't you bring me in on this one?
So I am going to go with BYU on this. I'll tell you why, because Texas Tech earlier in the year, I thought they were just going to run through some of those teams, and they struggled quite a bit. So I'm going to go with BYU just because they seem to be the more just steady pick here, I guess. I mean, look at their wins. They keep their composure throughout the season. So I like them to keep doing that here.
Okay. What about you, dude?
More and more, I'm going to say the Red Raiders, I think, are coming out of this one. I think that if you look at the track record, they put a little bit better performance against Utah, for instance. And granted, you're playing different teams on different weeks. Everybody knows that. I think when everything gets shaken out, Red Raiders emerge. The BYU Cougs, they slipped down a little bit, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, remember that one year that BYU thought they were relevant again? And they weren't. But yeah, who knows? Could be wrong. But it just seems that's the last 30 years of my life. So
I'll just jump in on BYU. I really like Bear Bachmeier. I think that he's played exceptional this year. He's got 11 touchdown passes, almost as many rushing touchdowns too. He's at 9. And that's where BYU shines, is in that rushing game. But here's the real question mark that comes up, is that their top rusher, LJ Martin, is not playing at 100%, and neither is his backup Moa. And with that, as you've already mentioned, Texas Tech's defense is top-notch. And if BYU's whole offensive scheme is not battling at 100%, they will lose absolutely this week. BYU's best asset to try and combat that is their turnover percentage. They've got 12 interceptions for the season. They're going to have to really put a lot of pressure on Texas Tech quarterback Morton in order to first force some turnovers if they want to hang in for all 4 quarters. But Texas Tech's a team I've been preaching up all season, just to jump on that. Their only loss came against Arizona State when their star QB, Morton, was out with injuries that he had in Kansas the week before. So if he's playing that game, we're talking about a Texas Tech team coming in undefeated to this game, which I think we would have no questions whatsoever. But he's here. They're playing at home. I got Raiders, but I do not think they cover the 10.5 points. I think we go under 53.5.
Yeah, I don't have them covering, and the only difference I have is I do think it's going to be an over game because even though Texas Tech's defense is very good, BYU is very good at scoring points. And to your point, that quarterback can do whatever. He can throw it, he can run it. He doesn't care, and I feel like he's taking a lot of the ego out of the game because I've seen him talking. That
Yeah.
kid just wants to play football. He wants to win, regardless of what's going on around him, where he's at. He wants to win. So. I do think the Red Raiders are going to win this game. I don't think they're going to cover because I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm not trying to count or discount BYU at all. I just Utah blowing out Cincinnati last week changed that win and that loss as far as I was concerned. I mean, it definitely clicked some things as far as I was concerned, as far as who was where, because the eye test is important, and the committee has been very outspoken this year that we are going to absolutely use the eye test if there's any kind of question about who needs to be where. And you guys are just going to have to deal with it. It's just they
Yeah,
put out a
but
statement, so.
when they say that, you can't help but think that that's just a way that they're going to justify, well, this
Notre
team
Dame.
is going to bring in more money, so this team goes here. And that's my eye test. My eye is on the green.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I hate.
Yeah, but I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a dual-edged sword in it. So, um, I'm not going to tangent in a bad way, but I think BYU is a good team. I think Texas Tech is going to be the better team today, and I think that's a good place to leave it because I don't want to take anything away from either side. I think these are two very good teams, and there's a reason I think this is going to be one of your best games today. So, we'll
Well, it's
see.
college game day. This is
Yeah.
what they chose this week.
Mhm.
Although I don't agree
So-
with that necessarily.
Who would you?
Where
have
would you
picked
put
in?
it?
I mean, it belongs in the SEC always. Those are just the rules.
Right on. Right
No
on.
argument there.
We got some patty cake games in between the next one I don't really want to talk about. That's just to the point of like Ole Miss. They wouldn't even give me odds on betting for that one. It was just a lot and a lot. So let's roll into another good one. This is SEC. This is going to be, I think this is going to be another really good one. Texas A&M is going into the Mizzou Tigers. The Mizzou Tigers. 2:30 game. I think the line is being I think that's an easy cover for me. I'll go ahead and get into it. I think A&M is about to roll into here and just make these Tigers look like little teeny kitty cats. A&M is one of the best, if not the best team in the entire country. They're one of the most complete on both sides of the ball. They have shown very little chinks in the armor. I don't want to ramble on them too much, but a couple, coaches and such have taken A&M to win the national championship this year. So to bet against them, I think would be a silly thing. I think it'd be a silly thing to do it today. The Mizzou Tigers have been good this year, but they have shown the chinks in the armor, and they have been gashed at times. And A&M is the team that will absolutely gas you. I think this is going to be absolutely covered, and I think this is going over. And if the Tigers aren't careful, this could be one of those beat downs where they're absolutely irrelevant after this. So if they're not careful and they don't bring their best game, this could make it a lot worse on them. So I don't necessarily want to see that. I don't like seeing those just beat downs, backups in and stuff like that, especially when it's SEC play. You don't want to beat up your own conference too bad. It makes you look bad. So you don't want to do that. But to that point, without rambling too hard, Texas A&M wins this game hard, and I'd like to see what the dude has to say about this one too first.
Well, I think that the Mizzou Tigers, I have a personal bias. I always assume that they are slightly overrated, and that's really the last 15 years or so. And I'm trying to discard that because when I look at their only losses, I mean, that's coming to Alabama and Vanderbilt, both of them top 10 teams. I mean, you can't really be upset at a good team for losing to a top 10 team. That being said, is Missouri the good team? How do they fare against here? And oh wait, Texas A&M is yet another top 10 team. So I would think we're going to see a repeat of their previous records against there. A&M comes out again. My question, so they've moved the line. The line's tightened a little bit more. Now it's a 6.5 spread.
Okay.
I think that's what we're looking at. I expect to see a good game. I would not be opposed to Texas A&M making it a little less interesting, and I think they certainly have that capacity. But I think what the line is reflecting and what most people's minds have is that Mizzou will absolutely put up a good fight, but Texas A&M ends up coming out ahead. And then the question comes down to, one, are there 50 points scored in this game? And two, does Texas A&M beat them by more than a touchdown? That being said, Texas A&M beats them by more than a touchdown. And this game, I'm going to say, is just under 50 points.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about you, Rista?
I like Texas A&M in this. I like them to cover. So Missouri's quarterback has been hurt this season. I think that's a big reason for me picking Texas A&M to cover in this game. I do like Missouri. I like some of the things they do. I think their defense, they got some pretty good guys on the line there. They got a great running back. With the quarterback being hurt, and also I just don't like that I think they lack kind of a vertical threat this year in these big games, and that's why I kind of have a hard time, picking them to cover in these or, make these games when they against a team like this is what I should say. So, I like Texas A&M. I do understand that it's at Missouri, but I still like them to cover in this.
Right.
Yeah, I like that you bring up Missouri's quarterback Perbulo being injured. He had a big fourth down play he went for, so mad respect in the Vandy game previously this week. While he was down, allegedly one of the Vanderbilt players may have grabbed that ankle and maybe allegedly made sure that was a season-ending injury for Perbulo, which I hate because he's had an incredible season. He's a quarterback that I really like. So in his stead, Zollers took over, and I think he had a decent performance in Vandy after that. But he is a freshman quarterback, and he will be starting his first game against the number 3 team in the country, and in my book, the number 1 team in the country, which that'll be tough for anybody in any case. Missouri's best asset remaining after that is Ahmad Hardy, who's quickly approaching 1,000 yards rushing for the season.
Well, that'll be Norfleet's out too, that tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that'll be the main focus of the Aggie defense, I think, this week. On the other side of the ball, you've got Marcel Reed, who I think is getting progressively better each week. He had 4 touchdowns against LSU on an away game, and 2 were in the air and 2 on the ground, and he had 100 yards rushing that game as well. So I think the Aggies have a pretty balanced offense, and they have the tools at their disposal to continually put points at the board. And I said this in the live on Tuesday. Had it not been such an explosive, solidifying win from the Aggies against LSU in Death Valley 2 weeks prior, I would say that this game would probably be under, and it would probably be A&M not able to cover that 7.5 points. With that said, A&M is going to go out and make another statement this week. They're going to absolutely cover, and I think we're going to go over as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of written on the wall, especially with just the personnel, we'll say, that is missing for the Tigers. I don't see any scenario where A&M just doesn't come out here and absolutely shows why they're one of the best teams in the country. And so, for some of the Duke Bros, it is the number 1 team in the country. I do think that they're better than Ohio State. I think they deserve that spot. Texas A&M are just, everything's clicking, man. Mike Elko has them running like a finely tuned sewing machine. They're just, you can't even hear it. It just goes. It's just nice to see everything working somewhere, because lots of teams have this or that. The defense is good, but the offense is crap. We were just about to bring up Auburn anyway. We'll get to that in a second, but it's around. So to see everything clicking everywhere for a couple teams, it's good. So we'll see Texas A&M to win today, and if not, it's on tape, and I'm a lot. But moving in to the next game, we want to talk about at least a little bit. I think this is Auburn's last chance to try to make anything out of this season that's not the Iron Bowl. They always play spoiler. They always have the opportunity to play spoiler in the Iron Bowl, no matter how crappy the team is that year. So I think that's the highlight of their season right now. But if they can come out here and piss off Vandy somehow, some kind of way, That would be impressive to me because I've been talking up Vanderbilt all year. I love what that team is doing. I think the coach is crisp. I think Diego Pavia is a little stud, even though he's a little bit too short to get to the NFL. So he's probably going to play another 12th, 13th year in the college league. But
Just 7.
well, he did get that letter saying he had one more year if he wanted to come back. So I'm sure we'll see him again next year. But I, not to beat the Tigers up, like I said, I like to save my crap talk about Auburn for when they're playing better. This has been a tough year for them. They have had just a turmoil. They started out pretty well. You had a little hope. You saw this, you saw that. Maybe Arnold will do this. Maybe Freeze will finally get it together this year. And that has not happened, man. They have had some misfortune in some calls, some officiating, we'll say, some unfortunate circumstances that have led to a couple of losses as far as I'm concerned, and that just compounded their woes. I don't see Auburn going into Tennessee and doing anything against the commies. I think they are going to cover the 7.5 points, and I think this is going to be an over game. I think Vanderbilt absolutely has to come out here and say, hey, we are one of the best teams in the SEC. This is our statement game. This is why we need to be considered for moving forward. I just don't see Auburn giving them a real game. It might be interesting for a little while, but with the coaching changes, Arnold's not playing well. Other than their defense, there's not a lot of high points about Auburn this year, and that's unfortunate for them. And it just kind of is what it is. And I'd like to let GB go ahead and jump into this one.
DJ Durkin is acting as interim coach. The impressive season he's had with his defensive group, they taking teams like Texas A&M and holding them to 16 points in any of their other matchups. The defense has kept Auburn in every single game. Obviously, the question all season has been, what can Auburn's offense do? With Jackson Arnold behind it has not been stellar. Last week we saw against Kentucky, you had Ashton Daniels start. Not much better. That was a 10-3 loss. 3 points is what Auburn was able to produce against Kentucky. With all that said,
hey, they only put up 10.
What's that?
They held them to 10.
Yeah, because Auburn's defense is playing lights out every single week. The question then is, with Hugh Freeze out, not calling the offense, what does Auburn look like with him taking out of the picture? I absolutely believe DJ Durkin will delegate responsibly to make sure that the offense is run. And it's hard. He's only got a couple of days to try and turn this entire team around, and that's going to be the most impressive thing that if he's able to pull something out against Vanderbilt Hill. I will say I would not bet on any part of this. Obviously, Pavia is a stud. He's had a great game, but look at how they performed against Mizzou. Mizzou was able to really contain him. Really, I would say for about 3.5 quarters until he finally was able to break loose and get that touchdown that they needed to get. I think Auburn's defense has proven that they can hang in as long as they need, as long as his offense can get out and get some field goals, which is their best bet like they did with the Arkansas win. So I'm going to say War Damn Eagle. I would not bet on this game. I think that Auburn is in position to make an upset. If it won't be this week, it could definitely be with Alabama, but I feel like they're going to get one of the two. If they get both, I'll be happy. I will take one. Specifically the one that comes around Turkey Day.
Very cool.
Well, I'm sorry. I was thinking if I wanted to talk any more crap about Auburn, and I don't. I'll let you have your war dam, and we'll get on into the next one. This is my actual upset this week, and I've actually gotten a lot of crap about this from just about everybody. Wake Forest Demon Deacons are going into UVA, and I feel like Wake Forest has been trying to piss somebody off all year. And yes, they got curb stomped by FSU. I think they're going to succeed. I think they're finally going to get their upset game today. They almost got Georgia Tech. It's just they've played really good games this year. Georgia Tech kind of let me down with that beating they took. I was not expecting that. But I just, for some reason in my bones, I feel like this is going to be the upset. Virginia's finally going to get knocked down a couple pegs because I feel like they're maybe a couple 2 pegs high. And this is going to shake up some stuff as far as really cementing seeds in the playoff, because we're getting really into the nitty gritty stuff. Virginia's one of those bubble teams. Are they in? Are they out? I think this is the game where they get kicked out, and I think Wake Forest finally gets that upset and pisses somebody off this year. And this is probably their premier win, and they'll lose everything else for the rest of the year. But I think they win this game.
Okay.
So without taking too much scolding from everybody that's not going to be on this island, why don't you start us out, Jude?
Well, really considering it, I think that doesn't happen. I think you are detached from reality, and we should probably consult some authorities and get you some assistance right now. I mean, if we want to take the Florida State game that either one of them played, one, you have a lot of points put up. One is Wake Forest. And I think that's going to come out here. I think Virginia wins this. I think they cover the line. I would absolutely love for Wake Forest to show that Virginia is overrated and kick them down and out of the mix. I will not bet on this game specifically because I do have that hope that, sometimes reality doesn't have to make sense. And if I was putting money, though, I would unfortunately put it on the Cavs to kick those Deeks down.
Yeah, and I'll jump on that. I mean, Virginia is poised for both an ACC championship as well as a playoff run, which do I think other teams are more deserving of that claim? Yes. I think that Vanderbilt, Texas, Georgia Tech would all stand a better chance. Now, this is the week for the Cavs to prove me wrong. They could come out here, absolutely stop the Demon Deacons and continue on, and that will make me feel like they're deserving of the spot. But Wake Forest is a team that can pull off some big upsets like they did against SMU. SMU, a team that somebody called was going to pull their own upset last week. So, but then the FSU game the next week, like as the dude is saying, it's hard to really peg down who the Demon Deacons are. I think that the Cavs will absolutely continue their playoff run today. They're going to get a win, but I think the Demon Deacons will keep them from covering, and I think it'll also be an under. What about you, Risa?
This was a game when I was looking at the list here. I wasn't very confident in this one. I could see Virginia getting upset here. I think I could see that happening, but I would still go with Virginia here. I just don't like them to cover. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying. I just don't know what team they are going to be from week to week. So I just wouldn't be confident in the pick with that. But if they can win this one here, though, they're setting themselves up pretty nice in their conference. So it's a big game for them.
For sure.
Yeah, that's going to have a lot of shaking out and then sorting if Virginia loses that game. So we'll see what happens, man.
The Deeks have the Tar Heels after that, Duke. I mean, they should have some relatively confident wins coming to round out the season after this game. So if they did pull something out here against Virginia, and then bam, 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 you're looking at a 3-loss team. Obviously not making a playoff run, but you're looking at them right now. They are playing for a bowl game where they're going to get some cool shit. And I say that because today's college football landscape is even the player that doesn't play, you're getting an electric scooter, you're getting the new iPhone, you're getting the bean, you're getting, and the kids like that. And the kids, I remember being on camp. We went to Troy, and I remember when Troy went to its first big bowl game there, you knew immediately the next day who every football player was because they all had the most obnoxious, newfangled crap on and had every possible item was brand new. And like I said, the new phone, the new sunglasses, the scooters, all that stuff. And but it's very cool. The players are playing for that because that's well inundated in the culture now. So right now, you're like, hey, am I playing for a chicken sandwich? Am I playing for a sweater? Or am I playing for a scooter? That's where it comes down to.
Well, you got to have some goal at the end of the season, right? I mean, it can't just be, let's go home.
They made the consolation prizes more interesting.
Sure. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and roll into the last game that I think is really worth talking about. I even wore this purple just to commemorate the burial of these LSU Tigers, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a good day for them. It's going to be a bad day. I think I called in our live show here that Ty Simpson is finally going to be having that Heisman game that I've been waiting to see all year. Now, don't get me wrong, he's been playing great, but he's made mistakes, little stuff that you're like, oh, well, okay, maybe he's just really good. I want to see him come out here, Bryant Denny, Nick Saban Field, and drag these Tigers up and down the field all day. That's what I want to see. I want to see a Theismann performance. I want to see 5 touchdowns. I want to see 400 plus yards. I want to see him balling out and running when he needs to. I want to see him just humiliate these Tigers. And I bet that way too. I said it's over and that they're going to cover that 11.5 points. I'm fired up. I still haven't seen the game where Ty Simpson really cements himself as I'm the guy. This is my Heisman this year. Go ahead and put it in my name. I'll be there in a couple weeks. That's what I want to see. But then I come back down to a little bit of reality and realize how good these LSU Tigers defense is, because their defense is very good. It's been the offense that's been the sketchy part all year. And, to be fair, they got rid of a lot of that problem, a little while ago. They cut some losses and paid some people. But
A lot.
yeah, a lot. But that's not going to help this year. I mean, they might win another game this year, but it ain't going to be this one. I can promise you that. Even if Bama doesn't cover, they're going to find a way to win this game. It's at home. Yeah, I'll leave it right there for now, and let's go to the Tiger supporter over here. Let's see what the dude's got to say.
Well, I think the statements that I made previously for Duke, you could obviously throw onto the Tigers right now and cast that same shade upon them. But an important thing to consider is the last 2 losses from LSU have occurred during a period of tremendous turmoil in that program. It wasn't like this Kelly thing was out of the blue. This was well known. You saw him on the field where he turns and without bleeping it out, he says, I'm going to be fired. And he says that, the camera captures that. Everybody knew what was going on. The players knew there was no heart there for a while. That being said, if there was a different coach or a better situation on that, we could have absolutely seen a different game with the Vandy, absolutely seen a different game with Texas A&M. The Ole Miss game is probably the only one that I think would have been the same outcome. And that being said, you'd be looking at the 1-loss LSU team right here, talking about their playoff run, talking about how it's Bama versus LSU, and the one who wins this goes to the big dance. The other one is going to a decent ball game. So it's important to frame it with that. I do not think Bama's going to come out and trounce LSU, but I think they are in a bit of a pickle with the situation that we have there. So unfortunately, I will have to say, as much as I would like LSU to come out and win, I think that they are at least going to keep Alabama from covering the line. And I will not say anything further in that department because it just would hurt my heart too much to go down that route. Although I did like your introduction there. I think if you do that next time, you should use that kind of 1950s mid-Atlantic accent, like you're a radio broadcaster talking about a Zeppelin about to crash or something.
Yeah, you see, yeah.
It's very good. But
that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Reese
love to
Grant.
see the LSU Tigers come out and put up something impressive. We've talked about Nussmeier, and we really wanted to see him all season come out and have an impressive performance. He was a top Heisman candidate in the first couple of weeks, has not been since.
Same with Lagway. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but that's a point that I had meant to address a couple of weeks ago, and it skipped my mind. But Lagway had a lot of potential, but because of the conflict with the coach and the lack of faith in there, we really didn't get anything out of it. And I think Nussmeier, unfortunately, has that same
shadow
negative aspect. And you could even throw that all the way out if you want to go West Coast and look at what happened with the Bruins there and our little Tennessee escapee.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing there. Get rid of that coach. Maybe he comes out and shines. So I would love to see Nussmeier come out and absolutely be like, hey, I'm supposed to be a Heisman candidate. Look at me.
And on that vein, let's think about Sellers with South Carolina against Bama. That was somebody who came
another
out
good
and
one.
had playing out of his mind, had the game of
Yeah.
his season. And maybe Alabama just absolutely squeaked away without ruining their entire season that game. If Nussmeier comes out and plays like that, I think that there's a different conversation here. But where are we? We're at Alabama. LSU's there. There's going to be over 100,000 people in that stadium screaming at the top of their lungs. It's going to be a lot for any team to handle, as it always has been. As Auburn fans, we unfortunately know that on a seasonally basis. I do think that, oh man, it pains me to say this, but the Tide's going to roll. I think they're covering the 11.5 points, and I think they're going over. And I would love LSU to be the LSU that they were even 2 or 3 seasons ago, but that is not the team that we're seeing right now. And I'm sure Rista maybe has a little bit of a biased position as well. What do you think?
Yeah, are you heading down to the tailgate here after this wraps up, Rista?
No. There is a couple things I want to hit on here. So you mentioned Sellers against Alabama. So this is the difference between those two, at least to how these teams have played. Sellers was by far the best player on South Carolina's team. What he needed was the rest of his team to help him out to win that game. He played great, or, I think he did. Nussmeier has not been doing that for his team. His defense has been playing really well, but he's not been, living up to that standard for them. So that's why I think they've struggled. I think everybody can say that. Another thing that I think is interesting in this game, I kind of wish I would have asked Coach about this earlier in the week, but so you let go of your head coach, you let go of your offensive coordinator. How do you prepare for a team like that? Because aren't they going to run some stuff you probably hadn't seen them run this season? I would think they would. So you don't have that on tape, right? That being said, I still like Alabama to win this game simply because it's a home game. I don't know if they'll cover or not. I mean, of course, I hope they this is the game. I hope they put up, 50 points on them, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But that's what would keep me from kind of saying that they would have a fast start, is because I don't, maybe they don't know exactly what they'll come out there and do on offense. Because when you get a new coaching setup, you're either going to just fall flat on your face, or some teams actually do pretty well. I mean, Arkansas, when they let go of Sam Pittman, actually did pretty well the next week. So
that's true.
What do you get when a team lets go of their leadership like that in the program? Which, in this case, it might actually help LSU a little bit. I'm not 100% on that. So that's my big takeaways from this. But I do like Alabama to win the game.
It seems more like a flipping a quarter aspect almost. I don't want to say it's a flat 50-50 odds, but it seems every time that you have this major shakeup, the team is absolutely going to come out and be a new team one way or another. And I guess from a AD or just from a major booster perspective, if you feel like your chances for something significant happening in the season are already gone or pretty much gone, it is worth that risk, because A, you either get the flip around, or A, you get to ride it out. Season's already wrote off, so that is what it is, and let's get transition and build for next year. And I think that is where LSU is at. And I would love to see that quarter flip on heads or tails, whichever one you're calling, and it to be, okay, this is what we need, go Tigers. But we'll see. We'll see. I will say the line on this and the over-under have also shifted this morning, with it tightening even further. Now the line is at a 9.5, and the over-under is 48.5. Wow. Meaning some other people are starting to throw some more stuff in the Tiger camp.
Well, I think this is the other big game to watch. I think it's going to be a good game. I talked all.
This is game
Alabama.
Day game.
Yeah, I feel like game day should have probably been here too, but they've already been to Bama once this year, so they can't double it up, right? Yeah.
Don't discount BYU Texas Tech. I mean, I think it's still going to be.
Well, I said this is your second one. Yeah, this is definitely your second biggest game. This is your night game, so this will be the one you want to have on the TV, I think. I hope I get what I asked for, but that might be wishful thinking. I hope Ty Simpson plays well. I hope the team plays well, and I don't want to see any stupid shooting in the foot kind of crap right here, getting into the nitty gritty.
I will be happy to see a Theismann performance regardless. I will be happy to see Nussmeier show out. Be happy to see Krispy Kreme do some work. This is going to be a great game, and I am not going to be upset with the outcome no matter what.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a good place to put a button on it, boys. You got anything you want to add before we roll out here?
No, I think if we can get together, we should have a playoff discussion and a Heisman discussion in the next few days here, and get that. We can do that live too, make it easy, accessible. But that'll be fun. Other than that, I'm looking forward to a great day of football, boys.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank
Join
you
us
for having
Tuesday
us,
for the
Brian.
live pick show. Appreciate you guys being here, and we'll catch you next time. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
We're damn.
Roly-doly.